Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the man charged with Amanda Johnson's murder is back in court tomorrow.
A piece of Texas Revolution history changes hands in Goliad County.
And 3 people are dead after a shooting outside a Target in North Austin, how police tracked the suspect and what witnesses experienced.
Well, congratulations. I know it says 99, but we made it to 100 degrees today. Hot and steamy. Some moisture coming in our direction, and we'll take a look at the tropics. All that in a moment.
And staying cool for the first day volleyball matches beginning here in the Crossroads. I'll highlight some of the top volleyball teams competing later on in the sport.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shauna Curry.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
The man accused of murdering Amanda Johnson is due back in court tomorrow morning. A hearing is set for 9 in the morning at the Matagorda County Courthouse. It's the latest in a series of hearings and reset court dates in the case. An indictment for murder was filed against Fernando Acosta Jr. on June 16, 2021. Acosta is also indicted on charges of tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse in the death of Amanda Johnson. Johnson was reported missing on April 17, 2021. Her remains were found the next day in a burned SUV in Matagorda County. As of now, Acosta's trial is set to begin Monday, September 8th at 9 a.m. An animal cruelty investigation in Victoria uncovers pets living in filthy conditions, some without food or water. Officers say the house on Spur Drive looked abandoned with an eviction notice on the door and no furniture. They found multiple emaciated cats inside, 3 dogs outside with no food or water, and an overwhelming smell of urine and feces. They also say they heard barking from a locked room and believed the homeowner, 59-year-old Jack Andrew Thomas, was also in that room but would not come out. Animal control left food and water and a 3-day removal notice. Thomas was arrested later on an animal cruelty warrant. He has since bonded out of jail.
A very historic part of Goliad County is now under control of the state. The Goliad County Commissioners Court Monday night unanimously approved a contract with the Texas Historical Commission that will transfer ownership of the Fannin Monument and surrounding county-owned land near the Presidio La Bahia State Historic Site, including the Angel of Goliad Plaza, to the state for $500,000. The Texas Historical Commission, as part of the agreement, will spend around $1.2 million toward restoring Goliad County's historic courthouse. The Fannin Monument commemorates Colonel James Fannin and more than 300 Texian soldiers executed following the Battle of Coleto during the Texas Revolution in 1836. Cracks in the road, craters in your commute. Potholes are more than a nuisance. They can damage cars, drain wallets, and frustrate drivers. We're taking a closer look at why they're popping up, what's being done to fix them, and where the worst ones are. Today we found these at Watt and Lawrence Streets. Show us the pothole or potholes that are hindering your commute. Is it causing issues for your vehicle or just an eyesore? We want to know. Email us at staff@crossroadstoday.com.
The Victoria Crossroads Independent Cattle Association will host a meeting at the Julie Wimberly Memorial Homemaking Building in Goliad. That meeting starts this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. and will focus on protecting herds from screwworm infestations. Attendees will learn about treatment options and prevention strategies with 3 specialists on hand to provide expert advice. As students across the Crossroads head back to class, we are celebrating the start of a new school year, and we want to see your first day photos. Send them in by 6 p.m. Friday, August 22nd, and we will share your special moments on our social media pages. Don't miss out. Send your photos today. And with school back in session or soon to be back in session for the Crossroads, we want to know how excited you are to go back to school. Very excited, a little nervous, or not excited at all. Cast your vote by coming to crossroadstoday.com/vote. And we're neutral right now, but leaning toward not excited at all. I don't know if these are the parents or the students who are voting in this, but you know, back to school is always, you know, it's kind of a bummer that summer's over, but exciting to start the new year. So now we go to Mac Perez for a first look at our forecast, and Like I said, we're still in the dog days of summer, even though school's starting.
We
Sure,
are
but
not
that's-
excited to hit 100.
Oh yeah, we're all excited. But look. First of all, excited to go back to school because it's air conditioned. How about that? That's number one. Number two, your buddies are there, and you can see what happened over the summer. And yes, we did make it to 100 degrees today. Nothing in terms of any precip around our area, but right here, right in Louisiana, there is a tropical wave. Hopefully, it'll make it across the Gulf and come into our area, giving us a better chance for showers later this week. We'll also take a look at the tropics because Erin is getting going. We'll have all that coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
A deadly afternoon shooting outside a North Austin Target has left 3 people dead and a community in shock.
Now, what we're learning about the suspect and the chaotic crime spree that followed. Abigail Velez reports.
We seen the first body on the ground, and then all the police started swarming in. It was just chaos.
The city of Austin is mourning tonight after a deadly shooting outside of a Target in North Austin.
I was really confused at first because, like I thought that this only happened like in the news and stuff. And then I kind of just froze at first.
The first call came in at 2:15 this afternoon at a Target off Highway 183 and Olin Road. Austin police say 4 minutes later, officers arrived. They found 3 people shot in the parking lot. 2 would die there, and the third died at a nearby hospital.
This is a very sad day for Austin. It's a very sad day for us all. And my condolences go out to the families.
Investigators say the suspect, a 32-year-old white male with a history of mental health issues and a long criminal record, shot one of the victims while stealing their car, the start of a crime spree.
The suspect fled the scene, stole a car from the scene, took that car, wrecked that car.
This is where police say the suspect crashed that stolen vehicle in an office complex parking lot at Mopac and Anderson Lane. APD says he then hijacked a nearby Volkswagen, injuring the driver and taking off again.
He was then found by Austin PD in South Austin, where he was taken into custody after a tasing.
But the chase ended here on La Casa Drive near South Lamar Boulevard in South Austin. But questions remain about what led up to the crime spree.
We don't know if there was an altercation or what. At this point, we're looking at video.
In a statement tonight, Target says in part, "We are devastated by the violence. Our hearts are with the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives, and we're grateful to the first responders who acted quickly."
It's just a lot. Mental strain of having to see dead bodies and blood and guns, and it's a lot.
District 4 council member Jose Chito Vela, who represents this district, says in a statement, "My heart breaks for those who just lost their lives. Glad APD has the suspect in custody."
Police were just everywhere, guns in hand, trying to find the active shooter and telling us we need to stay still. It was just a lot.
The Victoria City Council will hear an update on the city's water system tomorrow night. Mayor Dwayne Crocker will present the latest findings from the Water System Review Subcommittee. That meeting starts at 6 p.m. at City Hall, located at 107 West 1 Lynn Street.
Another Texas legislature special session is coming very soon. The state's top 3 elected officials said today the legislature will adjourn its current session Friday, and the governor will immediately call another special session. Lawmakers will finish this session without passing any new laws after Texas House Democrats left the state last week to stop the passage of a new congressional map. The Senate continued passing bills. The House cannot pass laws without the minimum number of present members. Today, the Texas Senate passed a GOP-backed redistricting bill, voting 19-2 to approve new congressional maps that could give Republicans up to 5 more U.S. House seats. 9 Democratic senators walked out before the vote, calling the mid-decade redistricting a corrupt process. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick blasted Democrats for going on what he called a vacation, while Governor Greg Abbott warned he'll keep calling special sessions until Republicans' priorities pass. Both parties are accusing each other of abandoning Central Texas flood victims. Republican lawmakers blasted Democrats for delaying measures to strengthen the state's emergency response by leaving the state. Democrats say the GOP showed they were never serious about the importance of the flood response when they put the redistricting effort first on their agenda. All legislation will remain stalled until Democrats return to Austin and the House regains a quorum. We got late word the state Senate has passed 3 flood relief bills.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Tuesday asked a Tarrant County judge to jail Beto O'Rourke. claiming he violated a previous order, saying he cannot financially support Texas Democrats who left the state in order to delay passage of a new congressional map. To read this full Texas Tribune article, come to crossroadstoday.com. And remember to subscribe to the Crossroads Today YouTube channel, hit the like button, and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, same-sex marriage rights face a possible Supreme Court review. What could be at stake for couples nationwide?
Plus, tariff war pauses with a new deadline between the U.S. and China. Now, how this is impacting prices at the store.
The U.S. Supreme Court is being asked to once again take up the issue of same-sex marriage and overturn a 10-year-old decision. Kim Davis has filed an appeal to the High Court. Davis is the former clerk in Rowan County, Kentucky, who refused court orders to issue same-sex marriage licenses in 2015 due to her religious beliefs. In 2023, a federal jury awarded a gay couple $100,000 in a case against her. It's been 10 years since the Supreme Court's landmark ruling in the Obergefell versus Hodges case to extend marriage rights to same-sex couples across the nation. Now it will consider whether to take up Davis's appeal, in which she is asking for the overturn of that decision. If you buy products labeled made in China, today's trade news might apply to your shopping cart.
Tariff rates on those goods are remaining the same for now, despite a deadline that was set for today. Amy Kiley reports on what's happening.
They've been dealing quite nicely. The relationship is very good with President Xi and myself.
The U.S. and China are pushing back today's self-imposed deadline for reaching a trade deal. They say current tariff amounts can remain in place another 90 days as negotiations continue. An executive order President Donald Trump issued last night keeps the U.S. rate for Chinese imports at 30%. That's opposed to letting it rise to 54% as specified in a previous order. China confirms its duties on U.S. imports will stay at 10% instead of climbing to 34%.
With the tariffs going up and down, our prices go up and down.
Many U.S. businesses say tariffs on Chinese goods apply to numerous products they sell to consumers. That's because China is America's second largest source of imports.
At the end of the day, there's only a couple things that can happen. Either the companies make less money or the prices go up for the consumers. And we all know what companies are going to choose.
Meanwhile, Trump says he's allowing the Chinese to buy certain American-made semiconductor chips. He says the U.S. government will get 15% of related revenue.
Taxing a specific company to have the right granted by the government to ship product to a specific country. That, for lack of better words, is a little funky chicken. But at the same time, it's a form of tariffs.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
President Trump argues people in other countries pay U.S. tariffs. Experts say that's only true if they're both the exporters and the importers, like when a foreign company ships directly to consumers.
For the most part, U.S. businesses pay tariffs on imports. Foreign manufacturers could choose to discount their products to offset the cost, but many say they can't afford that.
President Trump is set to host South Korea's president at the White House later this month. Trump will meet with South Korea President Lee Jae-myung August 25th. This comes after a July trade deal in which the U.S. agreed to cut its reciprocal tariff on South Korean goods from a proposed 25% to 15%. That lower rate also applies to South Korean vehicles. That's one of the country's top exports to the U.S. For its part, South Korea promised to buy $100 billion in U.S. energy and invest in the American economy.
The State Department has released its annual report highlighting human rights violations around the world, covering actions from last year. The report was mostly completed before President Trump's second term began, but underwent significant revisions over the past few months. Countries seen as friendly to the Trump administration, like El Salvador, received less criticism than in previous reports. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom and Germany were called out for alleged human rights abuses, including crackdowns on free speech. The report itself acknowledges it was adjusted and streamlined as part of the president's executive orders.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a warm 98 degrees even as we speak. We actually made it to 100 this afternoon. I know it says 99, but we'll have to correct that. 100, I saw that for sure. Now that's slightly above our seasonal average. Over the next couple of days, the temperature stays on the warm side, but there is some tropical moisture moving toward us. Will we get any rain? All that coming up in a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We had wall-to-wall sunshine, but late in the afternoon, you might have noticed the little clouds building up, and that sort of helped give us a little bit of shade. There you see where we are. We had no shower activity around the area today. We look a little bit wider, and we look toward Louisiana. What is all this? Well, this is actually a tropical wave. It's kind of a broad area of low pressure, mid-latitudes, but mid-altitudes is what I'm trying to say, but it is drifting toward us. Now, it was in Florida yesterday, it's in Louisiana tonight, and hopefully by maybe Thursday night or Friday, it'll get close enough to our area to increase our chances for some showers, well, because it's the only way we're going to knock the temperature down a little bit. This afternoon, we also had a line of storms up in North Texas, right about there. They're getting all that activity, but as far as we're concerned, absolutely nothing. This is the rainfall totals of the last 12 hours, and you can see Victoria County had zero, nada. We're, of course, looking at, that's why we got the 100 degrees for today's afternoon high temperature. Now, the heat index is going to be above that 105 category all the way through the next 5 days. And that's when we tell you, you got to jump up and down, but take it easy during the middle part of the day. It may just look like sun, but that's the thing about the heat. It's kind of a silent getcha. We want to make sure you get the fluids and the breaks. Make sure you don't do anything strenuous in the afternoon hours, whether you're working or playing. I wouldn't play a tennis game this kind of in the afternoon right about now. And then check on the elderly and make sure the pets have lots of water. Well, we look out in the Atlantic, and yes, we see what Erin is up to. Erin is the first big storm of the season. How about that? Right about now, it's still a tropical storm because it's in a rough area where there's still a lot of dust. In about 3 days, though, it'll get into a more favorable area where we are expecting it to explode in strength. Now, at this point in time, it's just going to go a steady, rapid development, but if it gets bigger and faster, obviously this is going to be a big sign. Now, it's going to skirt right now north of the Caribbean islands. They will get some effects, but not a direct hit. But then right about here, we've got to worry. Will it strengthen any further? Will it turn and miss Bermuda? Or will it get closer to the U.S. mainland? Right about now, we'll just say that everybody on the East Coast got to be watching to see what Aaron does and hope for the best. Now let's take a look at your forecast for tomorrow. Well, those of you down in Port Lavaca and Calhoun County, you're looking at a fairly strong high temperature of 95, partly cloudy and hardly a wind. You know, without a breeze, it really gets hot really fast. In Cuero, you're getting up to about a 96. 7-day forecast, well, 1 or 2 garden variety showers for Wednesday, Thursday, but Thursday night, I believe the moisture will start getting closer to our area from the one that was in Louisiana, and hopefully a good chance of getting some scattered activity during the afternoon hours. This is not a huge washout. I'm just hoping that it knocks the temperature down a little bit, at least for a little while. After that, we get back to the sunny, hot, and steamy stuff. So just remember, if you're outdoors tomorrow, your heat index is going to top out at 107 with a high temperature at 98 degrees. So that's warm enough. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone, and here's Shauna.
Well, it's the start of the school year. That also means start of football season. Let's send it over to Max Williams for our football preview.
Yeah, Shauna, just can't wait. Just counting down the days until we get to, again, week 1 there of high school football season. And to keep with our CFL previews, we're going to talk about the El Campo Ricebirds. We'll tell you about what to expect from this year's team coming up in sport. Now today began the first day of volleyball matches across the Crossroads area, but before we highlight some matches and kind of get you expected for later on going into our 10 p.m. newscast, we're going to talk about our CFL previews and head over to El Campo in the 4A ranks with the Ricebirds under longtime head coach Travis Reeve. Last year they started hot. They were 6-1 going into week 7. And after that, they lost 4 out of their last 5 going into district play, and they're hoping they can turn that around because that turned into a first-round exit in the playoffs there under his brother there and head coach there, Charlie Reeve, out there from Cal Allen. So it's a new season and a reset there for the Ricebirds. Going to bring back their top quarterback in Ridge Spenrath, and also keep an eye on the offense as well with their wide receiver James Dordick as well. He's going to help the Ricebirds in that regard. They open at Warden with their new head coach in mind as well, in Jason Haddock, on August 29th. Now, staying with football, the top commit we highlight previewing the Yoakum Bulldogs there from last Friday, where we had talked about offensive lineman Oliver Ortiz. He announced his commitment to Midwestern State football. Last year, Ortiz helped anchor the Bulldogs in the offensive line. They reached a couple rounds deep in the postseason. Ortiz looks to help the Bulldogs in their home opener versus the Calhoun Sandcrabs on August 29th. Now over to volleyball action, where earlier today at St. Joseph High School, the Lady Flyers, they hosted a tri-match there at the Flyer Dome and at the Field House with the Industrial Cobras and Calhoun Sandcrabs. Now, I was only able to attend the Calhoun Industrial matchup, but this one went back and forth to start with. It was a tie there 1-1, but then after that, Industrial would pull away there and win in 4 sets there over Calhoun. Just got finished there, got a word. St. Joseph Volleyball played there at the Dome against Calhoun. They won there in 3 sets. So currently right now, you're going to have, looks like Industrial and St. Joseph Joe play each other there, and it'll be starting up here in a matter of 20 moments. We'll give you all the stats, all the scores you need to know in that kind of area outside at St. Joseph High School later. 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. Now over to some more volleyball action, but with Victoria East, they began their season on the road there versus the Goliad Tigerettes. Both these teams last year were great there in district play, with the Goliad Tigerettes going undefeated there at 10-0 in district, and East they're going 10-2 in district play. So keep an eye for Goliad with Addison Yendry and setter Isabel Sanchez. Then for East, we mentioned there last week, top hitter Lillian Rather and also libero Landry Odom will be huge for the East Titans. We'll give you the full highlights for that one as well for 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. And finally, Victoria West, they travel up north to place the Cuero Lady Gobblers. Again, the Lady Gobblers, yes, they lost there in 3 sets out there in Seguin there, so looking to turn that around there playing the West Warriors. And that game started about 20 minutes ago. And again, after this, we'll head up there, see if we can get some good old highlights, and possibly we'll get some sound bites, just like I said, like the Goliad game there for 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. And then finally, with summer going to a close, as we mentioned, school starting up there tomorrow, Prodigy Softball, they finished off summer ball winning the Summer High School League out there this entire summer. They got multiple reps, and again, the 16U team got the job done, so they ended the season at the overall record of 9-2 overall. So congrats to Prodigy Softball and the 16U there for Martinez for this season. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, Shauna, back to you.
All right, Max, thank you. And we're back in a moment. A butter cow made famous at the Iowa State Fair finds a new home. Finally tonight, one of the Iowa State Fair's most well-known attractions is the Butter Cow, and pretty soon it will be celebrated on a national scale. Next week, the Butter Cow will be on display at the Smithsonian American Art Museum in D.C. Sarah Pratt, the butter sculptor at the Iowa State Fair, said 2 curators from the Smithsonian explored the State Fair 2 years ago to get ideas for a new exhibit. And after they saw the butter cow, they asked her to sculpt one for their museum. The exhibit opens on August 22nd and will be available until September of 2026.
Wow.
I guess my question is, because they didn't send the information on this, does she have to go to the Smithsonian and do the sculpting there, or do the sculpting in Iowa? And I don't know how you get a big old railroad refrigerated car.
How does the Smithsonian,
Make sure it doesn't melt.
Does
Exactly,
the Smithsonian know that they need a refrigerator that's going to be huge?
Oh, well, I mean, it's the Smithsonian. They would know.
You would
They
think.
would have one in one of the museums there anyway, you know?
You'd think they're going to be big refrigerator on that one. Well, folks, we could use a refrigerator out here. We actually made it to 100 degrees today. Tomorrow, we're topping out at 98. Hopefully, with a little bit of luck, by the time we get to Friday, we'll just have an increased chance for some daily afternoon showers. Other than that, that's the only way we're going to cool down. It's going to stay on the hot side.
Is this our first 100-degree
Yes.
day of the summer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yes.
we've had a little bit of a break,
We did.
so can't complain.
And if anything's going to happen, it's the next 2 weeks in terms of triple digits.
Oh, there you go. All right. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.